right, I think we're all set. Stream health's looking good. Here I am. So, anyway, back to that business of making my head look smaller. Not like on my shoulders, but I'm just taking up way too much space here. So, I'm going to put a little crop filter on there. Ooh, I already have a color correction filter. I thought that looked nicer than the Logitech default. Let's see. Oh, wait. Do I need a crop filter? Yeah, I think I do. I can't remember. Oh, yeah, this is... How about 100,000? How about 500 pixels? Cool. The right 500 pixels. Okay, maybe 400. Maybe 500. And I'll just sit over here. All right. Now, let's do this. Yeah, they really need to make the cropping better in OBS, don't they? Okay, look at that. I'm just this little... Well, now I'm in front of settings. I don't know if I want to be in front of settings. Maybe it'd be better to be up here. Yeah. I guess I really wasn't in front of settings unless they go... So anyway, hey everybody, how's it going? Yeah. I'm on Cinema 4D here, and I'm really excited to see how many licenses need like re-authenticating and all of those things, because, you know, that's typically what happens whenever I use any software on this channel. How's everybody doing? Hope they're good. I think everything's pretty latent right now. I think we have a lot of latency. Yeah, 16 concurrent viewers. I feel like I could do better than that. Oh, but it is Friday night, isn't it? It's a whole different ecosystem. I bet a lot of people are watching the Bellator event on Showtime, because I know how many MMA fans I have that like MMA outside of UFC. I'm only joking, but anyway. Yeah, no, this is Cinema 4D, and it's pretty good. I'm gonna create a little square. Yeah, I wish I had a little bit more of a curriculum here. I guess I'll just start by playing around aimlessly for a bit. Because, you know, I'm obviously not a teacher for Cinema 4D. I'm just sort of, you know, I figured that after the swamp trip, it would be fun to just play with some objects. Nope, Cinema 4D. I have 3D Studio Max. I think I do, at least. I had like I think it's the license is like, you know, per year or something. And so I think I had like a year license, but I don't think I do anymore. Or, you know, it probably expired or something. That usually happens. Yeah. Hi guys, like bools. Bools are nice, huh? Look at that. Bool. Pretty bool, huh? Yeah. I mean, I'm not actually doing anything with this cube other than just, you know, sometimes playing with bools are fun and inspiring things to do. So I don't know. What should we make? I guess physics simulations is what I promised. So let's just start there, and let's first see if X particles. Well, let's see if X particles works, or if I need some sort of. If I need to revalidate a license of some sort. I think it just works. Okay, great. That's good. X particles gets complicated, and let's see if Octane works as well. That would be good. Octane dialog. It's not what I wanted. Go away. Live viewer window. There we go. Look at that. It's a cube. Cool. And do all the skies work and everything. If I wanted to create a quick light or something like that. Let's go with area light. All right. Yeah, everything's rendering normally. I actually took a GPU out of the system because it was spinning up, and I felt like I felt like it was kind of a waste to, obviously a pretty big waste of power because I'm not using it really for anything. I'm not rendering flashbulb videos at the moment, so I don't really need them all. And then I realized, it's funny because it's like I have 2 GPUs sitting on like a bench back there, and I realized that they're both worth like $1,000 each right now. I'm like, fuck, I'm just gonna sell them. So, that way, yeah. Yeah, so you can make particle emitters, or you can just have things turn into particles live. I wonder what version this is. So just to give anybody who's not into this type of thing, you should know that like the licensing situation with 3D software is so much worse and so much more draconian than audio stuff. Like most things you have to like check in very periodically. Most licenses expire. Like your support will expire, and when your support expires, that means that like you'll buy X Particles 3 for $800, and then I don't know how much it costs. It's expensive though. It's up there. And then X Particles 3.01 will come out, but it'll be like 2 days after a year since you last bought it, and then they want you to buy a support license. It's just totally like, it's made for people who I don't know, I guess it's just made for graphic agencies, and those don't really exist anymore in the sense that they used to. Now people just work from home. So I hope that some of these companies figured their stuff out. But there's a lot of audio stuff like that too. Hopefully that will get better. One last thing I wanted to check is that I could look at my Cycles 4D, because this is one of the things that has issues. I'm using CUDA. All right, and let me add a Cycle 4D Lite. There we go. Cool. So Cycles 4D is a rendering engine, just like Octane, and it uses GPUs to do all of its rendering. Cycles 4D is not as good looking as Octane, in my opinion. A lot of people would disagree with me on that, but in my opinion, it's not as good looking. However, it is made by the same company that makes X Particles, so therefore it works brilliantly with X Particles. So attach a flat plane to each particle, an image of some blurry smoke with an alpha channel. Anyway, I'm not going to do that. What I will do though is I'll show you a little trick here. First of all, I don't make I don't make flat planes ever. I just make cubes, and I'm also like very into keeping things on the centimeter, like quantized in size. That way it's just easier for me to manage, and obviously if I need to customize it, I will, but that's how I do it. So let's just set a stage here. I'm just gonna get a tiny live viewer window, maybe right under my head here for now. Sweet. Look at that awesome surface. Yeah, I'll show, for anybody who's familiar with this stuff, I'll show you a nice little trick. I guess first I'll just build a shape that is somewhat unique looking to show you the trick. There you go. A nice platonic. That's pretty unique looking. Maybe give it some more segments. And actually, Bucky is good. We'll do this. Give it that many segments. Maybe make it a little bit smaller. And then I'll apply a deformer to it. Well, we'll turn it into a normal object. Or a displacer, rather. Some of these go inside the object and other ones don't. It's kind of annoying. Like other ones you have to put it inside the effector, and there's like no real rhyme or reason, but this is obviously in the right one. So here, now we have a pretty dynamic looking object. Wow. Put that in sharper image. If I delete this Phong tag, it'll be even sharper and more low poly looking. So that's neat. All right. So now I'm going to create a camera right here. Octane camera. All right, so that's our Octane camera. Great. The only reason I created a camera right there was so we know, so we could go back to it because we're going to fly around for now. Okay, so now I'm going to create a Octane light, which I can do here. Just an area light. Boop. Lift it up over here. Yeah, that should be aimed the way that I think it is. Let me make sure. Right? Yeah, okay, good. All right, so I knew it was doing that. Okay. Apologize for that. How embarrassing. Okay, I'm going to make the light kind of an odd shape, like maybe just sort of, I don't know, not that that's really an odd shape, but, and then I'm going to put the light into a, oh, my menu's all out of whack right now. Where's my MoGraph menu? There it is. Into a cloner. The cloner can just be a grid array. Oh, I see. It re-rotated them. Maybe I'll make the original one a little shorter. Okay. Now we have this army of lights that some are facing the wrong way, so -90 degrees. There we go. All right, so now we have this army of lights that I will bring up. Maybe I'll maybe bring it down a little bit. And then go back to our camera view. Okay, that's way too bright, so we could take that original light and lower the power. And now once we add a material to these things, to like this, and then we'll make another glossy material, and that can go to that. This one can just be like a gray with a pretty high index and a bit of roughness, so it doesn't look like intentionally shiny. And that can go on here actually, right? Wonderful. And then the glossiness on the ground. Just make that darker gray, maybe with a reddish hue. A little bit of bump, tiny bit of bump, lower bit of index. Cool. So anyway, the whole point of the trick that I did there was that you can now create this really, really unique photorealistic effect with the lights, because they're just more, I guess, spread out and dynamic, and you could sort of edit your lights in real time too, rather than just turning one up or down or, editing them individually. This way you get this really dynamic light scene. Whereas if I only used this one, it would, obviously not be powerful, but it would look like that with just one boring light. That's probably, I swear to God, this tip works for me so much, but I think for telling people on the internet. Oh yeah, there's background music, isn't there? Let's answer some of these questions. I have tried VR sculpting and painting. My favorite VR sculpting and painting game, I think, is the graffiti one. Although I'm really annoyed that you can't just like export your graffiti easily. That's really stupid. I've done like Tilt Brush, and then I have that other one, Gravity Sketch. Yeah. What else was I gonna say? Yeah, shaders are really, really crazy. You can get really, really deep. Seinfeld asks, how many hours of sleep do you usually get? I should have, not many, but I should have gotten more last night. I'm still very, very tired from spending most of the week in a swamp. So, yeah. Yeah, definitely using Cinema 4D is obviously a lot more difficult than most of the VR things. The VR things are much more accessible. Yeah, Cinema 4D it like has its own weird rules, and yeah, it's annoying. I'm pouring my bourbon, my stream bourbon. I have tried Touch Designer, yeah. I haven't used it in a while. I know that they've kind of like upped production with it. I know that it was a little lackluster for a while, but yeah, I know that they upped production with it, and so I kind of want to take the dive again. That'd be nice. But yeah, I am very familiar with Touch Designer. Can you set the lights, or you can set the lights on a sphere in each tone? I'll give you. Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense. More of a key light type of situation with that. Yeah, and for anybody who wants to like do this on their own, like learn 3D modeling, I don't think it's that different between programs. Obviously, like the physics stuff is going to be different, but yeah, I don't think in general it's all that different. It's all kind of the same concept. Then again, unless if you're using 3D stuff, then no, it's not. But oh yeah, and Octane has this really nice post-processing sort of couple little cheats here that allow you to use like film emulations and stuff like that. And you could like edit the exposure as if you were editing a photo. Sort of like an instant raw photo creation. Yeah. There you go. Here's an NFT for a whole bunch of money. I started off with Bryce, I think. I started off by pirating Bryce once upon a time, a very long time ago. I'm going to close all projects and I'm going to start over because that would be easier. All right, anyway. So another thing we could do, which, let's just start with the X particle system. So this is XP system. I hope I remember how to do this because this is actually, it gets pretty hairy. Let's make a shot of particles, like shoot some particles out, and then have them behave, and then write instructions for how they behave with questions and answers. That's a really fun thing to do. Yeah, there's a lot of things we could do. We could break stuff. NURBs are called... What do they call NURBs now? They still have them, but they're called something else. I forgot what they're called. But some of these, like the sweep, instead of like sweep NURBs, now it's called something else. But yes, I remember NURBs. How could I forget? So yeah, in in X particles, a lot of things, some things operate within the system. A lot of things operate, or within the Cinema 4D system. A lot of things only can operate in the settings of X particles. It's kind of picky and choosy, and I think that, you know, to their defense, I think that it's probably they're doing as good of a job as they can. So here's just like our general boring emitter. It just emits that. Emits a bunch of bullshit. Here's my ground plane. Maybe 2000 by 2000 and go down by 1 centimeter. There we go. Lovely. So first thing, I'm just going to tune my emitter a little bit. I'm going to turn it into, rather than a rate emitter, I'm going to turn it into a shot emitter. And at frame 1, it's going to shoot 1 frame of 1,000 particles. And I'm going to make this 900 frames. Or sorry, 300 frames should be fine. It shouldn't be too long. There goes our shot. Hoorah. How cool is that? Not at all. All right, so none of this is visible yet, but like in the renderer. I am going to name this floor. I can maybe break it up into 10 by 10. Oh, sorry, that's size. What am I doing? 10 by 10. And then displace it a bit. Just give it some noise. I don't know how radical I want the floor to be. I mean, that looks pretty stupid, but I would also like to get rid of this. There we go. Now it's not so smooth anymore. Maybe something a little less radical. Wait until I find a shape that I kind of dig. That'll work. Okay. So that's our floor. I am going to group the objects. Going to middle mouse button, click them. I'm going to connect them and delete. And now we just have one object to play with that's not really modifiable. And that's okay, because I'm going to right click that and I'm going to make it an X particle collider. And now if my emitter comes up a little bit, and if I go into dynamics, or rather modifiers, and choose gravity, now hopefully, let's see if this works. Poof. Nope, it did not collide. That was sad. Went right through. What is up with that? Enable collisions. Connect on collision. possible I didn't enable. Maybe it needs to have dynamics now? No, I doubt it. That just makes it fly away with everything. Let's put the normals anywhere. Give it a more friction. Yeah, this should work. Yeah, I don't have any groups made. I shouldn't need them unless I have more than one. Maybe the gravity's too high. Maybe it's just going straight through. It's too powerful. Let's lower the strength of that gravity. There we go. Cool. I wonder if anybody could even see what was going on there. So what just happened there that you mentioned? Or what you just saw that. Yeah. Hey Ash, how you doing? Ash is a professional at this. Man, fuck you guys. Every time I do any stream, it's so funny. Like I'll do a stream with the modular or something, and then like the developers of the module come on, or I'll do like a stream with FL Studio, and like the FL Studio devs are just like in the chat and so on and so forth. And I'm always like, oh man, like now the pressure's so high. And I thought to myself, I was like, man, if I do a Cinema 4D stream, Maxon is not going to be showing up to my stream. And if they do, that's great. Give me a bunch of licenses. That'd be cool. But Ash showed up. Ash Wagers showed up. A true somebody who taught me the ropes with Cinema 4D years back. So anyway, how you doing, Ash? Glad to see you. Glad to see you watch me use Cinema 4D for the first time in a year. All right. Yeah, so this could be made a lot better if we increase some of the settings which make the simulation take longer and then cache it. We don't need to do that just yet. But one of the reasons this looks so crappy is because we definitely need to add some more modifiers, such as not wind. We would probably want turbulence, and just a tiny bit. And so without turbulence, it looks like this. With turbulence, it looks like this. And so we can edit that turbulence. We could also make these bounce off of each other, which obviously takes a lot more CPU power, but or actually, does XParticles use GPU for its caching? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to make the scale much smaller and the strength a little bit smaller, so it just looks a bit more natural. There. Lovely. Okay, now let's enable self collisions and see what that's like. Ah, Lucy's drinking water. I hear it back there. I don't think we need motion inheritance. Trying to remember where to find this. Might be in a new thing now, actually. I'm always so confused because Cinema 4D has its own physics system that works separately to XParticles. And XParticles, I don't really know which one I would consider superior, but yeah, they have their own systems. And so a lot of times I'm like, oh, this is how to make things self-collide. And then I'm remembering Cinema's not XParticles. I bet it's in dynamic. And once we get that going, we could actually mess with the motion a lot nicer and do a lot more cool things with it. Yeah, maybe it's just in dynamics. Yeah, there we go. PP PP collisions. I believe that this is it. All right, let's see. Yep. Cool. That's a PP collision. So they're like bouncing off each other like this much. You could also connect them if they hit each other. This is going to take a minute to like... Yeah, they kind of go crazy. Man, a lot's going through, aren't they? Actually, let me zoom out here, or look at this side of this. See how many are actually going through it. Oh, that's so bad. Oh, man. Yeah, we definitely have to up the resolution of this. Resolution of the error correcting. This is a thing with like all physics simulation with 3D. I don't know of anything that doesn't do that. I'm waiting for David Lewandowski to show up. I want to save a project. And to do that, I'm so paranoid. Always, as always, I've signed. I have NDAs signed with projects, and oh, all right. I'm really glad I just did that because it opened me right up to that NDA folder. Wow, that was bad. All right. Now I have a folder I can go to. Yeah, I feel like you just can't stream and sign NDAs at the same time. X party. Oop, I called it C party. Okay, anyway, now that we're saved, we can enable that again. Poof, no secret projects have been leaked. Oh man, that'd be funny if this wasn't still going. If I just like did it for 5 minutes and was like, nah, never mind guys, good night. What GPU is in here? Right now I think I just have a 270. Yeah, 270. Nothing fancy. I mean, that's fancy for gaming, obviously, but for work like this. And I removed 2 other video cards, and I didn't notice any performance decreases or increases with DaVinci Resolve. That's what I was most worried about, but I didn't notice any problems whatsoever, so we're all good. Okay, we need to start generating things. I don't know. We could start out and just generate balls or something. Cubes, although these cubes won't have their own individual physics, but whatever. Okay. Look at that. Look at that ball explosion. And look how much is going through. I'm going to lower the particle amount. Because, by the way, this isn't like caching one thing. This is recalculating it every time I press play. So, oh, why do I have 3,000 is a lot for one shot. All right, there. That's more than enough for now. I wonder how many are falling through. Quite a lot. Okay, that's okay. We'll fix this. Yeah, cloth. Yo, Ash, do you like what do you like better, X Particles Cloth Dynamics or Cinemas? I like the Cinema soft body glitching. Like I love how if you do something slightly wrong with any soft body in cinema, it just turns into a monster that just keeps growing and eats up your entire session. It's pretty amazing. ImageLine have started releasing refrigerators. Did you HERE? I don't. I feel like that's a joke. Like I feel like you're setting up a joke. Like you're gonna be like, it's called Cool Edit, or some weird pun. Here you go. Here's an NFT. Yeah. There's a punchline, I'm sure. And it's gonna be a very sad one. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll go for an HDRI environment. I haven't used one of those in a while. Or actually, we don't need that. Texture environment's good for me. Nice little gradient. Here it is. So weird how it uses power rather than... I guess I could have just done it that way. Never mind me for being dumb. I never got the joke to the... Or I never heard the final answer to the joke. I gotta look it up. No, there isn't one that I see. Yeah, Seinfeld. I did a lot of I had quite a few 3D scans of myself. It was pretty hilarious. I could... Let me see what the lowest polygon one I have is. Let me look really fast here. I'm sure I have them floating around somewhere on a drive. If I have one that's like under I don't know, 300 poly, I could totally use it in with this emitter, and I could just have myself spouting out of a bottle or something. Where would that be? When did I make that music video? I know it's a big... I'm sure it's a big folder because there was a lot going on in that video. "2020 video." Oh, okay, I found it. All right. Now let's find all my body scans. So yeah, I got a lot of weird test renders from that. I was trying to at one point I was trying to simulate natural lighting, like sort of GTA 2. And these are me. All of my settings. Yeah, I got tests, like the weird like trying to make certain things glitch out. I think this is the first dance demo that I did where I actually like motion tracked myself. Just tried to make it look like a little drone shot. Yeah, the my iPad 4 actually has some some incredible scanning options. I was really amazed by it. It has a LiDAR. Oh, there we go. That's pretty. Anyway, these are just all of the weird test renders and stuff. Oh, that's cool. I'm surprised I never shared that or did it, or never even looked at it again. Oh, that's rad. I see what I did. I'm basically doing what I'm doing here, except just like a big explosion out. And it looks like a flower, but it's actually just little tiny particles. Well, neato. Anyway. Oh, I don't want to get dinged on my own copyright. Yeah. All right. Anyway, time to find. I have a file called Dick Cake. Oh yeah, there's a lot of tests like this, like trying to use style transfer on Linux. That was like before I was actually trying to figure out if I wanted this video to be 3D or not, or if I wanted to use deep learning type of thing. This is going to be embarrassing if it doesn't. Yeah, okay. This is using Deep Dream, and here's just me like mouthing the lyrics to test it out. This is Deep Privacy. This one randomized faces. This one took forever to run though. And this would just randomize any face that came into it, which was like super, super creepy. But literally like this tiny 2-second clip probably took, 4 hours. And it was just unfeasible. But it was really, really creepy because any one of these individual faces, like if you look at them, they're so fucking creepy. Here, check this out. Like the girl back there, this guy is just like a Batman villain. Like every frame, they swap faces. And you don't really... It's not even that noticeable when you watch it in real time, but like this girl, she like has a mustache at parts. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, that I would need a lot more power and wasted energy. But yeah, that's how the concept started out. Is I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna rig some faces, and here's a weird texture of my body. Yeah, most deep learning stuff is Python's like what you want to learn for deep learning. I mean, I'm definitely not like a Python developer, but I knew enough to get around that project. Okay, so I used Brickell, which was pretty terrible for 3D scanning. I'm trying to remember what the final thing. I made compositing tests. I don't know what that could possibly be. I don't remember what I was trying to accomplish with this. Oh, Ash actually recognizes places. That place, I think he kicked one of those cars. I'm going to find a proper... Oh, these are all style GANs. Just odd. Huh. That's really not that cool. All right, come on. Find a Ben 3D object here. I have so much stuff. So literally, there's like 100 folders in here, so it's taken me a minute. I want to find that original one because I know the one that I ended up using for the video, the 3D model of myself. I remember liking that one a lot, just because it wasn't nearly as... It didn't use nearly as many polys as the other ones, but it just looked so dumb. And that's why I really liked it. Maybe. Let's see. Oh, there I am. Okay. I don't know what texture this should be using. I'll also drag this in. This looks more reasonable. And I use cycles for the render. Oh, here's a texture though. Okay, well this is good news. We can just copy this into the other one. Where am I? Oh, I'm tiny. Right? Yeah. One hundred. There I am. Look at me. How's that? I'm back. And weighing like way less. I was really fat when I made that video. I mean, yeah, I think I probably weighed more than I weighed my entire adult life when I made that video. Or when I did this body scan, at least, when I was like doing that. I like went on a diet right after that. And I remember just looking at the body scans and being like, damn. I mean, you know, this isn't photoshopped at all. I could move this towards the center. Where my boy at? There he is. Okay. Lovely. I'm going to rotate this a little bit too. This just makes things way easier to deal with in the future. Cool. And now I can just like torture mode. This is upside down too. Nope. There we go. All right. Yeah, now I could just torture myself if I need to. I feel like this mouse is a little crazy sensitive. I just want to see myself. There we go. No, don't zoom in on the crotch. That's weird. Okay, so there's the low poly version of me. No, I mean, I've used Blender obviously, but not really that much, no. Just because I've always used Cinema 4D, so I haven't. I mean, Blender's nice because it's free. I definitely don't have any issue whatsoever with Blender. I think it's a fine piece of software. Oh, I hate this folder browsing stuff. I'm gonna answer some questions really fast while I do my folder browsing. Just because I don't want to violate any NDAs by opening a folder. Nope, this all looks good to me. Oh no. Yeah, this isn't an NDA. Ooh, I might be missing a texture. That would be bad news. Let's see. Nope, we should be able to find it. God, they need to really work on this. Yeah, this is what I'm dealing with over here. I think this is it. Yep. Come on. Yeah. It's not showing up in Octane, but that's because I need to... Oh, this is a cycles texture. Right? Oh, damn it. All right. Wonder if I can convert it to Octane. Not successfully, no. I thought the 2 would work. Oh, this is dumb. There we go. There I am. Ugh. And all my glory. I can make myself nice and let's see, make myself shiny. Oh, this is still not an octane. Oh, there we go. Duh. Yeah. Give myself a nice glazing. Lovely. Ain't that cool, everybody? I like how, yeah, Blender has a pretty nice physics engine now, from what I hear. Give that man an area light. Maybe this won't look so stupid now. All right. I mean, it's going to look stupid no matter what, but... All right, so I have an XP sprite. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to right-click. Or not right-click. I'm going to load an XP generator. And within that XP generator, I'm going to put myself. Bloop. And then my emitter for my XP generator will be this one. Nope. Grab the... Come on, guys. There. All right. Let's see if I can form. Oh, it's taken a long time. Oh, there's a lot of me forming, actually. That's way too many. Aw. There I am. Just loving life. So I haven't used UE. Is Unreal Engine still on UE4? I feel embarrassed not knowing that. I haven't used Unreal in a bit, but when I did use it, the audio reactivity was like, I could not get anything better than 100 milliseconds or something. Like the latency was awful, but that's, yeah. Anyway, my question is, have you compared it to Unity's? Like I'm just wondering. I'm not playing favorites or anything. I'm not going to get in a game engine war. We can flock the bends too here. Actually, how many polygons do we have here? Oh, geez. Come on. We've got 31,000 polygons per object. All right. Let's do a little low poly work on Ben here. I don't want this window. Go away. I've never seen that. Huh. Is Ash still here? Ash, what's happening to my Octane right now? I'll reopen it. Oh, I think we have a crash. Yep. Good thing I saved. Hey. Oh no. I hope this doesn't require a reboot. Is this a reboot crash? That'd be really bad. We're only using 10 gigs of RAM. Come on, close all the way. There you go. I feel like if you're doing anything in Octane, you just expect crashes. Like it's like they literally recommend it in the forums. They're like the Octane people. They're like, yeah, just save a lot. Yeah, you could kind of do generative stuff. I mean, so much stuff. If you want something to look real, you have to like utilize a lot of the noise and random parameters. Recent files. Really? Oh, there we go. Okay, here's where we were. And I'm going to move myself out of here and do this part again. And I'm going to try and reduce my polys. I got too many polys. Oh no, they changed that, didn't they? Didn't they put poly reduction somewhere new? Oh, it used to be. There it is. Okay. All right. Let's see. I mean, I don't mind this. I think this looks pretty badass, actually. I'm down to reduce it even more. Not quite that much, but yeah. I like that. I'm down. Oops. Group objects, connect objects, and delete. And there we go. Now we have a much more economical Ben. I don't know what happened to my material here. Refresh. Load that. Come on. There we go. All right. It'll look better in the rendering engine, obviously. Okay, so the emitter should not have quite as many of me. Let's stick with like 138, and let's see how that looks. Oh wait, I just dragged myself under the emitter like an idiot. There we go. Start that over. Unselect myself. There we are. Look at us go. And then we just bounce around. However, there is a problem here because we're not rotating, we're just staying upright the entire time, and that is just a shame. But let's have a peep. Look at all those bends. Let's create a material for this. I kind of like that, actually. Feel like a nice little icy. All right. So the motion is still not very realistic. Oh! I love it. I love it so much. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. You could even like see my tats. Oh, that's amazing. Wow. This is how I feel all the time. This is my Oh, that's amazing. I'm so happy that I did that. I got to export this model. This is so good. Anyway. Where was I headed with this? Oh yeah. I was going to make the It's going to figure out how to make all these particles sort of, I guess they have to inherit their own motion. I think that's what I need to enable, right? Nope. That's not motion inheritance. Maybe it's in dynamics. I'm just trying to figure out why my have a variation on the scale. Oh, there we go. Scale and offset. I'm glitching out pretty well here. Nope. This still isn't it. I know I've done this before, obviously. I've run into this issue before. Use rotation. This might be it. Nope. There is some sort of thing that allows it to randomize. I guess that wouldn't be speed and radius. Well, you know what I'm doing though? I am rendering myself as a sounds weird to say. I am rendering myself as a like just a clone of a bunch of different physical bodies. So they all sort of just behave the way that they come, I think. I think I need to use Cinema 4D's dynamic engine rather than, so each individual object could have its own. Well, hold on, this might not be the case yet. Let me see if there's a tag I could give this or something. Where are all the bends? Nope, they're all still facing up. All the bends are still... Oh. What's happened? What? Is this like trying to emulate soft physics or something? What is happening right now? Oh, this is odd. It's kind of what I was hoping for. I really, really like glitches. I'm a big fan. What? What's happening? This is so funny. Can we pause this and watch the actual preview? Oh, it's just going nuts. All right, let's watch all 4 windows then. Let's watch the overhead. I don't understand. Sean, I mean, I realize that it's difficult I realize that it's difficult to hear this, but like I think in most cases, and I mean I'm obviously not a doctor, so I can't say this, but I think in most cases, I think it's kind of a good thing that a psychiatrist would not prescribe clonazepam. Like I think that when I was prescribed clonazepam, it was by like an old school psychiatrist that kind of, you know, saw it as like one of the what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, One of the benzodiazepines that are less, uh, less likely to be abused because the half life is, 3 times that of Xanax, but it's still abused like really, really badly. And a lot of me believes that the only reason I still take it is just because I'll have withdrawal symptoms if I don't. It doesn't make me slow down at all. It doesn't make me, I don't think it's really affecting me at all, other than keeping me from having withdrawal symptoms, which I've had conversations with my doctors about that, and they've straight up been like, you need to take time off. Like, you can't work and go through that at the same time. You're going to be, in a bad place. So you need a lot of support, and you need a lot of, all these other things. And it's like, I just don't have that. Like, I don't have somebody to like, somebody here to, facilitate 6 months of me getting off of a benzodiazepine. And so I could look back at like when I got prescribed Klonopin, and honestly, I think that, where it did help me and where it was like an amazing drug and all these other things, if I could go back and just not get it prescribed, I would absolutely do that. Like, it would have been a month or two, and I would have, gotten on something, non-benzo anxiety drug, or I would have, gotten therapy or figured out a way to cope. Yeah, and I'm just really, really. Anyway, just sorry to anybody else who thinks that this is like an odd thing to come on. It was just like, yeah, getting prescribed a benzodiazepine is on paper, withdrawal symptom wise, on paper worse than getting prescribed, hydrocodone or something, or an opiate, or even morphine. Like the withdrawal process from benzodiazepines are worse than those of opiates. So I hope that your doctor is helpful in helping you, but at the same time, it's like I hope that you don't find a doctor that is as reckless as as mine was, when he just was like, try this, it'll be good. And I was like, are you sure? I've heard some bad things. And he's like, no, this is a good drug, it's fine. And I was like, all right. No, I'm not really getting it. I'm not really receiving therapy at the moment, from like a therapist. It's mostly just like health insurance things. So it doesn't really. Yeah. I'm not, just for anybody who, I'm not going to recommend you anything just because everybody's different. And, I'm not going to be one of those, I'm not going to tell you to like try CBD. I think that you should go to the doctor and do what the doctor says. And if you're not happy with the doctor, then, I realize it's really, really hard to find a doctor that gives a shit. I'm not even sure that I have one that gives a shit, but I think that that is, more worthy than ask. Like, you shouldn't listen to advice from me, obviously, but as said in the chat, otherwise, I do think that you'll, like, SSRIs are, clinically proven to be quite beneficial for panic attacks or anxiety. That's definitely worth trying first. If you quit SSRIs, you have like, at worst a few weeks of withdrawals. Um, whereas, and they're not severe. I mean, I guess some people have them severe, but it's like moderate, mild to moderate. Whereas, it's nothing life threatening or anything. Uh, yeah. Um, yeah, I don't really believe that. I felt like in the 90s, I felt a lot more like doctors were owned by the pharmaceutical companies, but I feel like the pharmaceutical companies just overdid it. I feel like they just normalized the, you know, annoyance that they were doing to doctors, and doctors obviously do very well for themselves financially, so they're not really they don't really need to be on the teat. Yeah. Um so what benzodiazepines do, like Klonopin and Xanax and Valium, you have a part of your brain called that is basically, it's your GABA receptors, and your GABA receptors are what's in charge of fear, essentially, right? Uh, so anytime you have anxiety, anytime you have panic attacks, it's all coming out of that part of your brain. And benzodiazepines just basically, um, for lack of a better word, just neuter your GABA receptors. Like they just get make it not work anymore. Your GABA system. So, uh, yeah, I mean it works almost too perfectly in that sense. It works very, very well, but the problem is that then you don't need it forever, and I also feel like more people are I also feel like more people are kind of scared of SSRIs and not as scared of something like Xanax, when it absolutely should be the other way around. Like I've had SSRIs that didn't work for me, and I've had SSRIs that worked for me amazingly, and um, yeah, I mean it's just, I feel like it's a completely different, it's like hydrocortisone cream. It's like steroid cream for your skin compared to, you know, heroin. What is your sorry, I'm not reading all your comments, unfortunately. What Yeah, okay. Yeah, if you're being prescribed antipsychotics, that's so sorry. I'm gonna try and like scroll up here and see what you're mentioning. Um, okay, so this is for severe panic attacks. How Okay, so my two questions um are, how long have you tried the SSRIs? Like if for example, if you got prescribed sertraline, or let's say you got prescribed or Zoloft. Let's say you got prescribed Zoloft. How long would you try it before you went back to the doctor and said, "I'm not taking this," or before you stopped taking it on your own? I realize that people do that too. Um, I feel like something that a big problem that I've had with this whole medication scene is that doctors don't really seem to explain how SSRIs work. And I feel like, obviously a lot of people don't care. Like they're just like, does it work? I want to feel better. That's why I'm here. And that's fine. But I do feel like there should be a little bit more education involved when prescribing any sort of brain drug because, yeah, okay, so I see what you're saying here. So when you start taking an SSRI, especially if you've taken another one recently, like especially if I was on Paxil and I decided Paxil wasn't working after 3 weeks, I just couldn't handle it. I was upset. Whatever, it just wasn't working for me. So I got off Paxil and then go back to my doctor like a month later and say, put me on something else. And my doctor puts me on Zoloft, right? Especially when that happens. Your brain is amazing at compensation. That's what your brain's really good at. And so what'll happen is you'll take the Zoloft and your serotonin reuptake inhibitors are going to open up and they're just going to start sucking in serotonin. And so your brain's reaction to that is, we have way more serotonin than we're used to, so we're going to stop producing it almost entirely. And what happens then is you end up with less serotonin and you end up experiencing the opposite the polar opposite of what you want to be experiencing, more panic attacks. That's why on the side of any SSRI, it warns you about suicidal thoughts, things like that, because it could potentially zap you of your serotonin until your brain kicks in or until your brain compensates and gets done compensating, I guess, and normalizes and then produces a normal amount of serotonin and then uptakes a normal or increased amount of serotonin, which is what the drug is attempting to do when you take it. So one thing that happens, and this is not something that I blame people for, I blame doctors for this because they don't explain this and they don't make it clear enough, is people get prescribed a lot of different SSRIs and they're like, I don't like the way this made me feel in the first 2 weeks. And the doctor will just write another prescription a month later and they'll take that one and they'll say, this one didn't work for me either. All SSRIs, every single, and SNRIs, all of them have a minimum of 6 weeks that they say that the compensation takes, like a minimum of a month and 2 weeks to get that working, to actually be able to get to the point where you can say this is working for me or this isn't working for me. And so I'm not sure how long they recommend after that, but the compensation, the more you take SSRIs, the more used to reacting to them your brain gets. And so this all sounds really sketchy, but SSRIs do work. They're clinically proven to work. Not with everybody. Different SSRIs work with different people. But they are clinically proven to work. And, I'm convinced that they've probably saved quite a lot of lives and made a lot of people's lives back into productive. They've given people their lives back, which I think is important. But whenever somebody says SSRIs are horrible, I had really bad reactions with it and this and that, I immediately just say, well, their doctor should have fucking explained it too. Like immediately my brain goes right there. Like, well, they probably didn't take it long enough. And this is because I've experienced the exact same thing. Yeah. Until, one day, I guess, just sort of reading a little deeper into it. Well, okay. So I see what you're saying about like imbalance. You don't really know, like we don't really know what imbalance means totally. Like there isn't like a certain cc measurement of serotonin that you should always have in your brain. There's it's different for everybody. The balance really comes down to can you work? Can you provide for, if you're an adult, right? Can you work? Can you provide for yourself? Can you maintain friendships and relationships? Are you happy? Do you want to stay alive? That's the balance that's really focused on, because there is no like minimum or maximum amount of serotonin for any given person, just like testosterone. Like some men are born with loads of testosterone and other men have super low testosterone, and both of them can be perfectly happy. Yeah, and I don't really, when I think bad things about doctors, when I think about like when I say, like when I said what I said about like doctors not educating their patients enough, I think doctors sort of almost behave democratically, like they behave in the way that most of their patients want them to, because they want the visits to be as efficient as possible, because they usually have more patients than they care to deal with, just because, you know, they're busy. So I don't think it's that they have bad information. I don't think that it's that they're evil in any way. I just think that the average person doesn't want to hear about the brain's compensation, you know, especially when they're going to a psychiatrist for the first or second time. And when you go to a psychiatrist for the first or second time, you're like waving the white flag on a lot of things. It feels really bad to go to the psychiatrist for the first time. It's like a really vulnerable place, right? Because you're essentially saying, I can't handle the world on my own. I need help. And I'm mentally ill. I'm crazy, which is, you know, there's a stigma to that. And so I think the doctor just tries to like guide them the fastest way as possible. But I always do think to myself, like, you know, SSRIs I think would be a lot. I feel like a lot of people it's not that I think SSRIs would be more. I'm not on like team SSRI. I'm just on team patient. Like I think that people would feel a lot better if they understood, you know, the consequences of quitting SSRIs or jumping between them too fast, you know, because that makes them feel worse. That makes them unhappy, and that's suffering. And so, yeah, that's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm not gonna pretend to be like a self-help guru in any way here, but uh, yeah, I mean, I had a lot of panic attacks, and oddly, the worst, or at least like in my adult life, the worst it got was when I went on a drug vacation. Meaning, it sounds like I like did heroin for a year. I basically just stopped taking SSRIs and all that stuff for a while, and I started having anxiety, and I started like not taking gigs because of it and stuff. And when it came to that, I at some point really realized it, and I was like, all right, well, my anxiety is affecting my income, and that is an illness now. Like it's not just a quirk with my personality. Now I need to like get back on SSRIs. And so luckily enough, I had tons of Zoloft laying around, and so I just, you know, was like, all right, well, I'll start taking 25 milligrams and go up to 50 after a week, and, you know, do it the way my doctor did last time. And I started having really bad panic attacks. And I started having panic attacks so bad that I remember I was in Chicago at the time, and right down the street, there was this little Mediterranean restaurant. And it was like, you know, talk about my comfort zone. This is literally like, you know, right down the street on the same block. It was a little Mediterranean restaurant that I went to probably, you know, 3 times a week. It was like so convenient, so good, so healthy. And I remember going in there to pick up food. I would usually eat in there. I'd usually bring my dog. They let me bring Lucy in there. And I remember going in there to pick up food and literally being unable to sign the credit card receipt because I was shaking so bad from like just constant panic attacks. And and that's when I learned about the whole compensation thing. You know, it's because I quit all of these SSRIs and I started taking more. And so my brain was just like, we're not creating any more serotonin because the reuptake inhibitors are hyperactive. And yeah, and so it was pretty bad. And at one point, I bought some Xanax on the black market and noticed that worked amazingly, you know. And I got to go to a bar for, you know, an hour, and then I started feeling panicky after that. And, if I got to see like my friends after not seeing them for a month and all these other things. But anyway, one day I got really, really tired of it. The reason I'm telling you this long story. One day I got really, really tired of it. Like really tired of it. Like I was just like, I'm not living like this. I can't live like this. So I'm going to have a panic attack, because I know that when you're having a panic attack, you're as far as possible, your body is as far as possible from passing out. Are you going to vomit? I've never vomited while having a panic attack, but I've never really heard of anybody doing it either. Never heard of anybody having a heart attack from a panic attack. I've never heard of anybody like literally physically what your body's going through when you're having a panic attack is the equivalent of you maybe getting scared at a scary movie, or maybe getting scared at a scary movie while doing push-ups, right? Like, it's probably good for you in some way. It gets your heart going, So, but the point is that it's not deadly. It's not even really bad for you physically, only mentally. And so I kind of thought about that, and I was like, all right, well, let's just have a panic attack. Like right now, let's have one, because I seem to be triggered to have them so easily right now. So let's just have one in my chair, and I couldn't have one. And so I went shopping, and I was like, all right, so I'm gonna have a panic attack the moment I get into the grocery store. And so I went into the grocery store, and I was like, I felt one coming on. I remember in the bread aisle. I remember I was like picking up bread, and I felt it coming on really strong, and I took a break. And I said, all right, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna pretend like I'm tying my shoes, and I'm gonna have a panic attack on the floor. I'm gonna pretend like I'm getting a knot out of my shoes, and it'll be fine. There's people all around me. Nobody's even gonna notice. Nobody gives a shit. So I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna die. I'm gonna get the panic. If it takes 5 minutes, then, which is a long time, that's an eternity in panic attack time. If it takes 5 minutes, then it'll take 5 minutes, and then I'll get my bread and I'll finish my shopping, because I need to live my fucking life. And so I did this and kneeled down to tie my shoe. Could not have a panic attack. Could not have it. Sat there for like 30 seconds being like, go, have a panic attack. And it's fine. You're not going to have a panic attack? Then fine. Somewhere else in the store, it happened again. I paused, tried, said, okay, let's have this panic attack. Let's get it over with so we could go shopping. Never happened. Literally have never had another panic attack in my life. It was just that, knowing that it's harmless physically to have a panic attack. And then just saying, okay, this is like as inconveniencing physically to me as having diarrhea when I'm shopping, right? Like I got it. Not less inconvenient, because at least you have to go to the bathroom. You have to like find a stall if you're having diarrhea when you're shopping. It would be like as inconvenient as your leg going numb when you were shopping. Like you just can't really concentrate on anything. You kind of have to deal with that for a second. And so I was like, all right, well then I'm just going to deal with it, and then I'm going to move on. And because I have to go shopping, I need food. And never had another one in my entire life. I felt them coming on. Like I've smoked weed before and felt it coming on from weed, and then been like, oh, okay, we're going to have a weed panic attack. Oh, I'm getting greened out. Oh, okay. And the moment I gave into it, the moment I said, go ahead and have one, they stopped happening. And it just ended. I don't know if this works for anybody else, but it's worth trying. The next time you feel a panic attack coming on, be like, all right, come at me, bro. Like, it's not going to kill you. It's just going to suck. It's going to be an unpleasant experience, and then you'll go on with your day. Because, yeah. So, I don't know. Anyway, I'm scared to read the comments. I don't know if I said something that... Grocery panic squad, yeah. Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, it was like it can hurt me, obviously. Like mentally. It sucks. It's terrible. You're panicking, right? But it was like, yeah. And I don't want this to be like some sort of like just get over it, man. Be a bro. Like, that's not at all what I'm saying. Man, I'm doing such a shit job at the Cinema 4D, by the way, aren't I? That's not at all what I'm saying. Like, that's like that's not my vibe here. But yeah, I just think that, like, I think I took myself a little bit too, I don't know, a little too seriously. I took my panic a little too seriously and just gave into it and was like, let it sort of own me. Yeah. Como's right with that. It's really hard to it's not something. Yeah, I mean, me saying it and you doing it are two very, very different levels of difficulty, I'm sure. And I think that everybody kind of comes to a point when it becomes possible to do something like that. Like, they just get fed up enough to where they're like, all right, then let's just be done with this already. And yeah. But next time you feel a panic attack coming on, I don't know, it's worth thinking to yourself, like, I guess it's if I don't know how helpful that is, but it's worth being like, come at me, bro. Let's have a panic attack then. Let's do it, because I gotta go grocery shopping or whatever it is that I was doing. I think my, like, adult panic attack story that is probably the worst is I had this girlfriend that I was just in I don't know, I just could not win with her. And her parent, she was very, very concerned about what her parents thought of how she was doing in life, because they were, like, paying for her to live in Chicago and paying for her school and everything else. And they were wealthy, and she was very, like, trying to prove herself as as just this, somebody who had her shit together. And she's very concerned about that. Fair enough, And yeah, and this was, like, right around that time when I was, like, starting my drugs back up and had these massive panic attacks all the time. And I remember I met her it was like her college graduation, and I met her rich parents at this super nice restaurant where you had to, like, wear a suit and everything, and it was in downtown Chicago. And it's like, I'm already, like, super, super scared of those places, but it was, like, an absolute requirement that I came. And this was, like, when I was meeting her parents, and this is a big deal, and all this stuff. And I remember just having this massive panic attack and feeling like walking up this flight of stairs and feeling like I was gonna pass out. And I got scared that I was gonna pass out on the stairs and, like, hurt myself or hurt somebody else. And so I, like, excused myself and, like, sat outside. And I remember the bus fumes, because I was in downtown Chicago. The bus fumes gave me, like, another panic attack, because then I felt like I couldn't breathe. It just went on and on and on. And and it was, and I just had to, like, text her and say I couldn't come back in. And she was, mortified, and dumped me, like, a week later. And and then I was sad, and then I wrote Opus at the end of everything. So there you go. So it all turned out okay, because an album came out of it. I was in Chicago. How long was I in Chicago? 36 years. How does that sound? 35 years, maybe. Yeah, I grew up in Chicago. Yeah. And I realize I'm making her sound absolutely terrible I mean, she was terrible. Like that was a terrible thing to do. Like she had no compassion whatsoever. But, um, yeah, it should be. It should be. I guess if we want to like put a happy ending on this in some way other than that, um, it should be mentioned that like I'm friends with her now, and she is one of my favorite people by far. Uh, yeah, I think she's awesome, and she's like apologized for that, and come around, and I'm obviously I think she's getting married now, but yeah, I don't like hold a grudge or anything. I understand that we all did stupid things when we were younger and all did selfish things, but so I don't want to make her sound worse worse than she is. All right, let's bring this Ben character back in here. Man, I feel like when did Estelle's stop? When did Estelle's leave? I don't know. I grew up on the south side, so I mean I'm aware of Estelle's because that's like one of the places I would have to meet friends at and stuff up north, or other musicians, but I definitely. Oh, sorry. When you said I miss Estelle's, I didn't know if you meant that it had closed. I know Danny's closed, and Danny's was a place that I actually really enjoyed, like as far as a North Side bar goes. Danny's was a nice scene. What's going on with this texture? Come on. Load it. There we go. All right. So I'm going to make myself a soft body. Let's use some traditional physics here. Soft Ben. All right, so here is our plane, and here is our Ben. I'm going to give myself way less polygons again. I think if I remember it was here. I don't want it to look quite as terrifying as it did last time. Well, maybe I do. That was pretty cool. Oh, wow. I just look so upset when I'm so upset that I don't have a lot of polys. Look at me. I'm so angry. This is bullshit, guys. I deserve more polys than this. Brr. Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. Okay, let's do that then. Fine. Beautiful. Get rid of this Fong tag. That way I'm more edgy looking. All right. So I can give this plane. I'm not using X particles anymore, by the way. I am just using this. I'm going to make this a rigid body, which means I'm going to make it a static mesh, which means that it doesn't respond to gravity in any way. And just to show you how this works really fast, the simulation tag, I'm going to make this a rigid body, and this rigid body will just be automatic. And so now when I press play, it will do that. Or I could make it bounce more or give it different properties and stuff like that. Let's try and get me to fall into one of these holes. There we go. Donk. Hooray. Maybe a little more this way. Awesome. Okay. So Now I'm going to change this to be, rather than a rigid body, I'm going to make it a soft body. Soft bodies require a whole lot more processing power, but it's pretty incredible if you can get it working properly. So here we go, soft body Ben. It's going to take a long time to get through these. There we go. Right. All right, so a soft body, rather than just bouncing me around, does this to me. There. If we can notice. So it actually deforms deforms my character. And I'm very upset about that. So maybe what I should do then is I should make myself a giant soft body that just sort of falls into the various holes. You can also do this with cloth dynamics, but it's not quite as fun. All right, so go back, zoom out, make myself larger. I don't know if I want to be that much larger, but maybe 5, 4. Okay. There we go. Lovely. I'm going to make this a square. There we go. All right, so without a soft body, it should do this. Plonk. Wonderful. And now, so we have a lot of different soft body options. I'm going to add more to the structural. I'm going to decrease the shear. I'm going to increase the damping. The flexion can go down. It's kind of amazing. There's actually some really good, a little bit of stiffness to preserve my shape. There's actually some pretty good videos where people just like show all of these settings just on, little like they just render out animations of like, a rubber ball or something. That probably didn't do too much to me, did it? All right. Maybe let's try it without any stiffness. Ooh, there we go. That flattens me out a bit. Just create a camera there. Nice. Okay, so I could be flattened out a bit more. Is AO, sorry. Yeah, okay, sorry, I'm reading these now. Casey Smith, going from living in Chicago to more rural Georgia, do you feel isolated, miss living in a more populated place? Every now and then I see like a TV show or something or a movie where there will be a scene in like New York or Chicago, and I'll kind of just be like, oh man, I really miss that vibe, like of those types of street signs, or that, a mailbox in the street, or whatever it be. At the same time, I feel like my stress levels went way, way down, and I'm not in love with Georgia. I don't know how long I'll stay here. I'm not like really attached to it or anything at the moment. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't really like the governor here, but I know that can change pretty quickly. So, but it's funny because I love the people and I hate the politics. Like yeah. The two are very, and I think that's also part of the big problem is like the people in the politics are at odds, which should never be the case, because they are the ones who pick who can run for office. Sorry, I'm gonna go on to a different question. Yeah, but I don't think I can move back to Chicago. I do like visiting though; it's nice. Although it is stressful, but that's usually because I'm like dealing with like valet parking at some shit hotel and all sorts of other stuff. Well, Oregon's the opposite though. Like, I mean, I don't want to say anything that's gonna like piss people off, but like, I see Oregon as, Oregon's this place where like, anytime I've been in a place like Portland, which would probably be the most diverse place in Oregon, I've been and I realize I sound like such a fucking like SJW when I say this or something, but I've been uncomfortable with the amount of white people, which means to me, which doesn't mean that like I'm offended by white people. It means that I'm uncomfortable. I feel like when you have too many white people, or I feel like when you have too much of like too little of diversity, you end up with this weird it's like this weird situation where like like too many white people would be like a good example of like a lot of homeowners associations and like things like that, and like you have to pay to park pretty much everywhere, even at like a grocery store, and like I don't know, things that like I guess other communities would not accept. Like I guess like in my where I grew up in Englewood or something, like if you tried to charge parking at a parking lot or something, like nobody would park there. They'd all just like carpool or ride with somebody else. Like I don't know. But anyway, point being is in Portland you have that, but you also have, or in Oregon you have that, but you also have people who are just very like proud of how not racist they are, but they live in a place that doesn't allow, that has gentrified black people out of its or any person of color that has gentrified them out of the population. And it's kind of like, it's almost like the opposite of here. It's kind of like, you guys, like, if you like black people so much, why don't you help them move to your city instead of there was another question that I was reading for. Oh, Madison, Wisconsin. I miss Madison. I haven't been to Madison in a long time. I haven't been to Madison on purpose in a long time. That sounds like I'm insulting Madison. I'm not. I just like, I haven't had a show there in a long time. I've passed through it plenty though. I've been to the Ho Chunk Casino. I played bingo at the Ho Chunk Casino. I don't know. Some of the gospel choirs down here. Some of the gospel choirs down here are absolutely incredible. I am a fan. Not a huge fan of the message, but a huge fan of the music. I don't know. I realized more recently in my life that like I'm hugely inspired by gospel music. Like I didn't really realize. I would always just categorize everything as jazz, but I really realized that like the Chicago gospel thing is kind of melodically for me. I feel like I'm just not really. I feel like this. Maybe I need to be smaller, or this plane needs to be bigger. Right now, to Nick, places I've looked at, like any place, if I could live in any place, like meaning that you would like gift me a house there, um, I guess it would be like north of LA, like just in those mountains east of Malibu. If you were just like you could live anywhere you want in the U.S., here's an acre of land there, then I would choose that. I just can't afford that, and only very, very wealthy people can. Because that's beautiful. It's very close to nature. It's very close to LA. The only reason I really like LA is just because I have so many friends in the city. Like so many of my friends over the years have just immigrated there, and so yeah, that's I feel like 50% of the people I know live in LA. So that'd be nice. And other than that, I could sort of still have wildlife all over the place and enjoy all of the things that I enjoy now. I'm gonna bounce a lot more. But more realistically, like if you just gave me $300,000 to buy property in a house, I would probably choose Los Cruces, New Mexico right now. I think that's in the U.S. Oh, nice. We're in error range now. We've got it bugging out. We have a feedback loop with the polys. Yeah, north of or like yeah, the east of Malibu, like east of Highway 1. Those like desert mountain, it's kind of like a mountainous desert thing. It's really nice properties. I feel like anybody could find this out if they just did enough googling. That's where Trent Reznor lives, and like I'm just kind of blown away by like the area. It's like, man, now I see what what Trent Reznor money can buy. Like it buys you living in this area that's really close to everything else. And I'm going to give myself a bunch of pressure and I'm just going to explode. I'm just going to start I might even blow up before I hit the... Will I? Maybe not. If I got kicked out of the U.S., I would live in England. Scotland, I guess, if I had a choice. I think I would probably move to Scotland. I want to say that I would move to like Argentina or something, but I don't think I could deal with like I feel like it would just be too much shock. And little things like, like Amazon Prime. Like even in England, Amazon Prime is like, what the fuck? It's so much less convenient than it is here. But yeah, I think I would move to Scotland, probably like northern Scotland. Or I don't know, maybe like West, because I feel like Scotland's small enough to where I could probably get around. But yeah, that's probably where. I'm trying to really just make myself melt into this thing. Ooh, now I'm more of like an inflatable. I don't even know what like pop music is these days. So I couldn't tell you. You know, I feel like most of the people I know in New Zealand would argue with you on that. I feel like people in New Zealand are not that happy living. Well, I mean, obviously, if you like go to Reddit or something, everybody's like, New Zealanders are very proud. But I feel like friends of mine who live in New Zealand and Australia, they're quick to point out how far they are from the rest of the world. If that makes sense, like everything that we enjoy, it's much harder for them to enjoy because just of their geographic location, and a lot of companies take advantage of that, which I even remember that with like CDs. Like I remember hearing about my CDs being in like Australian stores for like $40 and stuff, and it was like, what do I think of the Micro Freak? I think the Micro Freak is probably like dollar for dollar one of the best synths you could buy. I think the Micro Freak's incredible. Yeah, I think and I'm super happy that Arturia went ahead. And yeah, no, I love the Micro Freak. It's funny because I feel like I have so much shit here that I don't really play with it nearly as much as I normally would if I were, still living the life of somebody who, bought my own gear all the time and, like bought gear. Like I would buy Micro Freak. Yeah, I would go buy one just for the purpose of my own music. And I'm sure I would have worked a lot more with it. But you know what? I've had like studio residencies here, and I've had like, tons of synths upstairs for that. And I would find people just using the Micro Freak in almost everything. Like the Micro Freak's one of the best. I can really vouch for it. I mean, I'm pretty happy what's going on with me here with this glitchy ball here. I think it might be time to glitchy foot here. I think it might be time to like put a giant heavy sphere on me or something. David Lynch. I love David Lynch. That's what I thought the ER301 was. No, they've never sent. I've never been sent an ER301, and they're too difficult to obtain. That's all. If they send me one, I'd absolutely love to do a video on it. But to be fair, I've never like reached out to them either or anything like that. But yeah, no, it's just a matter of me never being sent one. But that's something that I would be happy to review, or not even review. I'd be happy to work with, or feature, just because I think that it's an amazing enough product. But they got to send me one. It's just like priced higher than what I want to spend on a module. And again, it kind of comes down to like when you have a YouTube channel like this, you kind of, I mean, I don't know. No, they're probably not watching this now, but like I have 3 different companies like just trying to give me like e-bikes and shit, like just to like, it's like, well, I already did a video with a bike. I don't really have, it'd be cool to like have e-bikes for all my friends when they visit or something. But yeah. Oh, look at that. Oh. Will it stick to me? That'd be pretty cool. Maybe I could get it to like stick to my skin. Oh, nice. It kind of is. Good, okay. This is good. I'm liking where this is going. Yeah, so I'm not flexing when I say that, by the way. Like, I think anytime, just marketing through YouTube is like very valuable right now. And the oh my god, I'm getting free stuff ends really fast. When you realize that you only have a house that's so big, and when you realize that you can't actually use all of the things that you're being sent, like, and again, it sounds like a problem that everybody would love to have, but it is actually, it gets absurd at some point. Like, well, I guess it's not that it gets absurd. It gets to the point where you don't care. Where like somebody's like, hey, we're willing to send you a free blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, yeah, I don't really care. I still have like boxes stacked in my garage that I haven't opened yet of things that like I already feel bad because I'm not gonna feature them. But what was my point? The ER301. If they sent me one, I'd still be happy. It would still go in front of the boxes I don't feel like opening. I would still be very, very happy to play with that. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I left my camera totally. Yeah, I'm ridiculous. Sorry about that. How stupid. All right, I'm back. I think down here is probably the freest spot right now. Hey Ben, thank you very much for the $5. Hey Ben, how hard has it impacted you not being able to play live this past year, like mentally and emotionally? Been hard for mental health of many. It's a good question. I don't think that I don't think I had a connection to it quite as much as some other artists that I'm friends with. And I think the reason for that is because the live show that I want has never happened. It's happened a few times, but like it's very, very hard to, like, what I want to accomplish in a live environment is very specific, and I hold my standards are higher than what the average venue, minimum wage employee who does, the setting up of the room or whatever. I think that it's, and again, I'm not like bad mouthing that. I just think that I really, really want my live shows to be special in a way, and I want them to sort of be related to like the jazz legends that I've admired my entire life and stuff, and I want them to kind of be, I would love them to be like sit down, and I would love it. And so I've been fighting for this, even like visual stuff, even for bigger budgets, even for things. It's just that the bar is so low, like, for what people expect from electronic music. And so therefore there's not much incentive for anybody other than, myself constantly bitching to my booking agent and everything else. There's not much incentive for anybody to really work harder or pay more for, a cool experience when they could book any other act for the exact same thing. Anyway, that being said, so I feel like it was already a big struggle with me. And it was already like there'd been many, many times in my life when I had said, you know what, I'm never playing another show. And my friend and anybody who knows me personally can attest to this. This has been happening for 20 some years, where I'd say, I am never, ever performing again. And they'd say, sure, Ben, okay. And then a year later, I'd start another tour. So for me, it all kind of worked out in a way. Like my booking agent, booking agency essentially fired me the day before my album came out. And like, I had sent this album into the Recording Academy to be like Grammy, I really the our Simulacra album, that was going to be like the album where I tried. I mean, I try on all my albums, but that was going to be the album where I actually tried to make I tried to be a bit more of a commercial success, and that was going to be that thing. And I think a lot of that was like because I was married, for the first time and stuff, and I was like, I think I owe this to like my family to at least like try and make as much as I could from this album. But anyway, so to answer your question, I'm affected by it a little bit. I miss a friend of mine, for example. I have a good friend who booked Richard Devine for a show in Austin, and I'm kind of happy. Like, I seized the moment last year, and I went very strong on this channel, and like, this week I just got back from living in a swamp recording audio. I'm like living a fucking dream. I absolutely love it. So I cannot complain one bit. I feel like I did all the right things COVID wise to like, I guess capitalize on it as much as I could and like adapt to the situation. But that being said, Richard Devine, a friend of mine booked Richard Devine for a festival, and I like got pissy about it. Not to the person. I didn't say anything to anybody, but I did get pissy. I was like, what the fuck? Like, why didn't you even ask me to play? I probably would have said no anyway, but, I just imagined myself playing with Richie at this festival in Austin and, and being really bummed out that I didn't. So I think it's starting to hit me, like, because I have been touring my entire life and now I'm not. And, I think it's hitting me a little bit, but I'm also so fucking busy. I just don't know how it would work at this point in time, Like I'm so busy. Hello. Yeah, no problem. I miss, but I think like all the things, I don't know. I feel like there is some sort of, here's what I wonder now. I wonder if my YouTube, I don't want to call it success because I'm trying to make this weird gel, by the way. I don't want to call it success necessarily because, obviously you can compare me to a lot of my competitors, and I'm not doing nearly as well on YouTube, which is, fine. We all do our own thing. But I do wonder if me doing a tour now would be more, which this is crazy to me, right? Because like I'm the flashbulb man. Like I've toured as the flashbulb, and I've been known for that, and nobody gave a fuck about my YouTube channel until last year when I started putting way more time into it. And now I'm more recognizable now. Like people have run into me on like hiking trails because I don't really go out in public all that often. So people have recognized me on hiking trails and things like that, and that's weird. I'm not used to that, and I'm not like saying it's bad. It's not a bad thing, but I'm just not used to it because most people, if they listen to my music, they weren't like looking at pictures of me. They didn't have like a flashbulb poster on their wall of me, like, riding a horse or something. They just, very few people actually like, go to Wikipedia and look up your name or look up your image or whatever. So anyway, that being said, I do wonder now, like for example, next month, I'm doing like a small course I'm like teaching the small course at a college in Sweden, and I'm doing it virtually and stuff. But now I wonder, like, would it be more valuable for me to tour in educational institutions than it would for me to, for me to tour in, bars or venues. That's actually not a bad question. I'm going to give this circle some more polys. I also don't want to render this perfectly. Can I stop that from happening? I know circles have this like perfect render thing in Cinema 4D, and it's kind of fucks up your dynamics a little bit. Okay, it's not ticked. Good. I don't want it ticked. All right, I want this thing to melt more. I guess I could also give it more mass. Give it custom density. Let's give it custom mass of 100. Let's watch it just pound through me. Sorry, I'm reading these comments now. How well did Austin receive Divine style? I mean, I think I've probably played with Richard Devine in Austin before at some point, because I've played a lot of shows with Richard. By the way, that I should mention that, like, that's why I had that reaction, is because I always play with Richard. Like we're always booked together. I've known Richard Devine for holy shit. I've known him for 22 years. And we've played a lot of shows together. We like toured together in 2004 and 2006 and 2000. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's why, like, him getting booked for it, I was like, I really would love to play with him there and like relive those experiences. That's all I'm saying. By the way, I need to make myself gelatin. Like, FYI, everybody. I gotta be gelatin now, okay? So. This shall do. The private lesson thing, I've been offered a gig. Well, not offered. I mean, essentially, a company offered to have me basically be a mentor for the company. And they paid really well, but I just, my morals are too good, and I couldn't go through with it. No, the company was fine. I just realized that I don't think I had time. Yeah, I'm like, at first I was open to the idea, and then it's not that I'm not open to the idea of being a mentor. I'm trying to like describe this in the best way possible. It's not that I'm not open to the idea of being a mentor. Because I think that, like, when I have my studio residency and stuff, there, if people have questions, there is like some mentorship going on a little bit probably. But I think I think it's just like a matter of time and a matter of, impact. Yeah, this renders so slow. This simulates so slow. Actually, I still don't think this is using my GPU, though. I think this is all CPU, so it should be faster. So I'm using a Threadripper. Oh, it's starting to glitch out. Too much math. Ooh, nice. I kind of want this to be a little more reflective. or sharply reflective. Um, what other props do I have that I could throw at myself? At first I thought that was like a insult. I thought you're like, how else are you gonna compliment yourself, Ben? I was like, did I do that really? I thought I was pretty humble in how I answered that question. I have plenty of things I could throw at myself. I think I'm just going with the soft body for now. The soft body physics. Favorite tracks I've produced and why? I don't know if I have like a answer to that question, to be totally honest. Like I feel like it would change. I feel like there's like certain things where I'll listen to and I'm just so fucking bored by them and I'm just so mad. I was listening to, I'm not even going to say what album it was, but I was listening to like one, because I don't want like to get hung up over particular tracks or anything. I was listening to like an album that I released like 10-ish years ago. Actually just yesterday when driving, I had a long trip after being in the swamp for a couple days, and I was listening just out of like, I had the files on my phone, I didn't have cell phone signal, and I was just like listening to an older album, and it was really funny because I was just thinking to myself, like, I would never, like, I'm totally happy with this track, I'm totally happy with everything I did here, but I would never ever make these decisions again. I would never half-ass it that way. I would never do, the things that I'm doing in this song. Like now I would do it completely different and it would take way more time. And, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Because of my, I'm producing way slower, but is it because I'm just holding myself at some weird artificial standard? So yeah. I wonder what the deal is with this sky here. Oh, there we go. I see what's happening. Just need to move that ground down. Blend it. Try and get it a little more photorealistic. Maybe like 1247. Then change our north offset by a bit. Or sorry. There we go. Yeah, I think I do have an ambulance file somewhere. Oh, thank you. Yeah, there's another track I made called A Bliss. Has this like really like the engineering in it or something is just very perfect. And I think Turning Alone is one like that too. I think Turning Alone, it's just like everything just came together in almost a lucky way. Like I don't really, I don't think I could like make it sound like that again on purpose. Like I think it was just some things just came together beautifully. Yeah, but that's definitely like Turning Alone is like one of those tracks where I made, and then afterwards I was like, wow, I did it. I did this. That's awesome. I'm gonna like throw a new Octane camera in here and actually get it looking a little snazzier while we're doing all this physics simulation stuff. That way we could have a good idea of what it'll look like in the end. I wonder how old my version of Octane is. I feel like this is like such a dumb abstract thing until you see, unless you actually saw the entire animation, then it'd be like, oh. It's a trying to find a good film. Ooh, that looks nice. Looks good for now. I'm happy with this. I wonder how long it would take me to cache it. Even though I don't want to do that yet, but I would like to view the animation a little faster, so I'm gonna have to find the cache object. Oh, I might be stupid. I think I'm thinking in X particle land, not C40 land. Project settings. Yeah, it would be here. And dynamics. Yeah, okay, I could do it here. Okay, I'm gonna bake it, see how long that takes. Actually, let's only go to, oops. Let's only go to 120 frames. And bake that. That's just Control D. Wow, I remembered a shortcut. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. How far are we? 72% from being able to preview it. I'm so used to putting on headphones. Regarding the correlation, no, I don't think so. Like I Turning Alone, like what I was mentioning in Turning Alone, I spent a ridiculous amount of time on that track. Like, I don't remember exactly, but I mean, it was a substantial amount of time that I spent working on that song, between like the editing and the orchestral recording and the layering, and there's a lot of different versions that it sort of went through before I like found the actual groove in there. Speaking of, while this is caching, speaking of some cool stuff, some stuff to show off. I'm looking at my other window here. I have from this swamp trip. So I did some astrophotography while surrounded by fucking alligators, and these are all AVIs. So it's gonna be okay. So check this out. So I recorded star time lapses, and then I imported each other frame. I wrote a little script in After Effects, and I imported each frame. This is just for like a montage or something for like the nighttime shots, just because, yeah. So I imported each individual frame and then wrote a script to duplicate it in After Effects and fade it out a little bit. I know that there's an echo function that kind of does this too, but anyway, the way that I set it up is so the stars draw streaks, but then they like fade out slowly rather than it just being like a star streak. So anyway, here it goes. Look at that. Yeah. So that was one. I think the other one didn't turn out as nicely. Yeah, that one this one I think I'll just use without the effect at all. Yeah, anyway. Okay, so now we can actually preview the physics of what's going on here. Here comes Ben. Plomp. Bloop. Yeah, I almost wonder if those shots are like too, I don't know, too much for the purposes of that video. See, like right before I hit it. Yeah, a lot of points in that trip are dicey for sure. I think for like what the average person would consider dicey, and I don't mean like, I'm not saying like I'm braver than the average person, but I think like the first night I was like, fuck this. Like, this is insane. There's gators everywhere, all around me. They're they're like surrounding me. They're coming closer and closer. Every single time I look, there's like a gator coming closer to me. So yeah, I was like, this is really bad. And then, by the second day, I was literally just driving. I was literally just like riding my boat, touching gators. Like I was just, there's just no avoiding it. Like, it's like, okay, this is part of the swamp. Like, they didn't kill me last night. They're not going to kill me during the day. And I just sort of stayed on that tip, I guess. Yeah, and it was okay. It all turned out fine. Obviously, here I am. Yeah, I thought it was an awesome trip. I think the video is going to be amazing. I hope I could finish it sooner than later. Yeah, I'm really glad I did it. It's one of those things where it's like way over my experience level. Like I should have not yeah, I don't know. Ideally, like I was kind of like hesitating on booking it, and then I just thought to myself like, well, I should just do it. Like there's no point in. Yeah, it was actually on Easter when I just decided like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it on this day, and I'm gonna go down there that day, and that's it, and I'm gonna go, and if I don't figure out like every single detail by then I don't figure out every single detail by then, and so what? I'll be fine, and I was, so yeah, glad I went, but it was anything involving gators is going to be a bit dicey. So I'm trying to create a little bit of noise here. This is a very small scale noise. I just want this to have like some form of texture. Not like that though. Maybe this was a bad idea. I just don't know where to go next. So as far as the gators go, there's over 35,000 currently in that area. There's I remember coming up with some math after reading that and realizing that there would be like one gator per the square footage of my home. There would be one, or per the square footage of the upstairs of my home, I would encounter one gator for everything. And I would say, considering that like I could only see the gators that were above water because the water's black, right? Like you can't, it has tannins in it, so you can't see more than, you know. Hope I didn't crash again. That would suck. Yeah, I mean, I would say that that's accurate. Especially like as it got darker, like on the second night, as it got closer to evening, I was in an area that was just way more populated with gators, and they were everywhere. Like, I would see like 8 in, you know, I'd be like in a really shallow swamp, and I'd see like 8 gators right there. Just like, all right, like here they are. It's not much I could really do about it, but they didn't really. I only got like a warning. Any reaction you get from a gator is kind of considered a warning. Like usually they just kind of go back under the water, or you know, or they just stay still. And any reaction you get is a warning. Like if they lift their head up towards you or something like that, that's usually like really bad news. And that only happened a few times. And luckily they were like kind of far away when that happened. Like that didn't happen to any gator that I was close to. Because I mean, I literally like rubbed my boat up against them. Like I could have just been like, but you know, again, I'm fine. It turned out okay. I feel like I could, so I'm going to put a normal. Yeah, I'm not using X particles anymore. It's not compatible with soft bodies here. I would have to use X particle soft bodies, which I know how to do, but honestly, it's so fucking crazy. Like it's so weird. The workflow is so weird that anybody who's not already familiar with Cinema 4D would just be like, "What are you doing?" Like it's it's kind of just stupid. Yeah, it's not how you would want to ideally do soft bodies. Although it does render way faster, but they don't really look right anyway. Ugh. I'm just gonna like shoot a bunch of things at myself out of this particle. There we go. I don't know how my mouse ended up on my other computer. Okay, I'm going to give these tons of mass. A disturbing amount of mass. Okay, and the emitter. I just want to see if this is working. There we go. Net no speed. These aren't going to interact with me in the preview, by the way. Oh, yeah, okay. So now if you're doing an emitter, you have to like throw in gravity as well. Stupid. Maybe I'll put the particles above me. There it is. Let's go with like 300 by 300. No. Maybe a little lower. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the first night I was really freaked out by the gators, obviously. And I just kind of, I just realized that like there's not much I could do. Like there's no real solution to them other than leaving, and I couldn't really do that. Like, yeah, I don't want to like ruin the video for anybody, but the boat broke down, and my options were fix the boat or go walking in and swimming in the swamp, to the nearest island or whatever, which would have been miles away. And it was obviously like, okay, well, we have to fix the boat, or we just have to like we have to basically fix the boat until it's until we can't possibly survive fixing the boat anymore. Yeah, it was definitely above my. Oh, you know what? We don't need gravity if I have rigid body working here. It was definitely above my skill. I don't want to say it was above my skill level, but I mean, because I did fine, but it was definitely like a whole new level of like fear. I don't know if fear is the right word either. I'm trying to describe like it's a big step up from the last video where I recorded sounds away from human noise pollution. It was a very, very big move up. I just want to give these a lot of mass. Okay. Okay, and make sure they self-collide. Okay. All right, now I'll do the whole cache again. Actually, I kind of want my bigger sphere to have more mass. Maybe less structural. A further elastic limit. There we go. Let's use world density and bring it up to like 700. I bet this glitches out and it's going to be beautiful when it does. All right, Control D. Clear the cache. I did have 2 paddles, but the boat that I had, I thought that I would be having a boat that was like a little bit bigger than a canoe, but it was like a fucking pontoon, and so the paddles did like nothing. They like literally did nothing. All right, I just want to see how this... Whoa, it just bounced. Damn. Why are you gonna do me like that? Yeah, I think the forest fire was the forest fire wasn't... I don't know how to say it. It wasn't that bad because... I guess because it was like a day long, whereas this one was, 3 days long. So it was more... Oh, and also like I got pretty... I was kind of stupid with the sun. I've never had sunburn before properly, and I just wore a sleeveless tee and I didn't bring any sunscreen because I've just never used sunscreen in my entire life. And yeah, when I got stranded, I was like stranded outside the shade, and I got like, I mean, my shoulders are like purple right now. And I got pretty bad. Oh, soft body. I turned it off. Whoops. Yeah, I got pretty terrible sunburn and sun poisoning, or whatever that's called, where you just feel ill from having way too much sun. Yeah, I'm like, I can't even sleep. Like every time, like I lay down and it just hurts. Just every time I move on the sheets, it's kind of miserable. But yeah, I would like to go out west. To be honest, these kind of things really depend on like how far I can go and like how much time I could put into it. Really depends on the sponsor. Like Patreon and the sponsor, like how many patrons I have plus sponsor. And so this one I have patrons and Audible, and they were able to like, because this shit was really expensive, like being able to fly the drone and being able to like, renting a motorboat in a wildlife refuge and like getting permission, that also like filming anything that's like not for personal use, which this technically isn't, the prices, yeah, it gets really expensive really fast. So anyway, yeah, if I do have some, I'm like kind of hearing some pitches from sponsors for future episodes of this series, and if I get some better money for May and June. I don't know if I'll get it for May. I'm still kind of going back and forth, but for June I might, and yeah, then I'd love to go. I'd love to go south. Or sorry, west. And yeah, it definitely still stings. And I cannot find aloe anywhere. I went to 3 different stores and nobody had aloe. I couldn't believe it. I thought like aloe just like, yeah. I feel like I could probably find a plant growing in the wild before I could find aloe in a store. Yeah, it was so bizarre. I was even like, yeah, I like spent like 2 hours looking for aloe. Yeah, I think like the money part of like getting a drone, getting a drone registered is frustrating, but I think that the more frustrating part is that like everybody working for everybody like doing that job is just miserable at it. Like they just don't want to help you. At least in my experiences, like they just don't care. And they're just like mad that you have a drone in general. Like they're just like angry at drone owners. I don't know. I definitely I've had a very yeah, just spent a lot of time just like essentially trying to like beg people to do their job to like help me get this video done. And yeah, for this video I got like my drone permission was like oh, by the way, this is called LiveDB. It's like a free material manager that comes with Octane. I never really use it. I should use it more. What was I saying? Something about drones? Oh yeah. I never got permission to fly it over a certain state park. I could only fly it over a certain portion of the refuge. And it's not because of any reason that, it's not because like it would bother animals or anything like that. It was just because like different districts are run by different like, employees or whatever. And some of them were just like hard work and needed a minimum of like 3 weeks to give you permission for anything. And I was just like, all right, well, I don't have that time. I thought about flying it anyway over there, but I just didn't. I just decided not to because I think like another thing, the last time when I did the Burning Forest video, I said to myself, like, this is the last video I do like this where I don't have an assistant, where I don't have like help, or where I don't have somebody coming with in any way. Like, this is the last time I do that because it's brutal, and I'm really, I'm just like pushing myself too much. And so I like interviewed a few people for like a very few. I interviewed two different people for this to be like an assistant on it or to like help out, even if they like just stayed behind and stayed in contact via radio or something, or went out one day for like B-roll footage. Yeah, and it just like it didn't work out, and then it costs so much to insure people for work like that, and so I just was like, all right, well, I'll just do it myself. And the moment I got out there, when I'm like trying to like get drone shots while steering a boat, while like avoiding gators, while like trying to get footage of me steering the boat, it's just sort of like all that stuff at once. I was just like, I need an assistant so bad. I'm never doing this again without an assistant. And I'm sure in the next time I will, just like this time. Sorry for those who haven't seen. I was in Okefenokee Wildlife Refuge, which is the largest swamp in North America. I believe you could fit more than 2 New York cities inside of it, size-wise. It was pretty intense. Yeah, it's northern Florida, southern Georgia, and yeah, and it's weird because it's like a place that's always been kind of off the map for me. Like I never really paid much attention to it. Like I knew it was there, but you just hear like swamp, and you're like, and it's not like really a touristy area so much. So I always just kind of ignored it. But I'm really glad I didn't this time. I'm really glad I went because it is really, really nice. Anyway, let's run the sim. Yeah, it's like otherworldly. It's really cool. It should be a national park, in my opinion. Well, maybe not. I think the reason it's not a national park, I think it would be. I think the reason it's not a national park is because it's a wildlife refuge. Like you have to get a permit to go in a lot of different areas and stuff. Yeah, it's south of Savannah. It's like it's east of Valdosta. Like it's between Valdosta and Jacksonville, Florida. Like the swamp goes like you could like I'm pretty sure at some point I was in Florida in the last like just from but I was in the swamp. I didn't there wasn't like a sign obviously, but like I'm pretty sure I crossed back and forth between the Georgia and Florida state line a few times. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know where I don't know where Miyaka is. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, I've seen this before. Oh, I've been here. That's funny. Yeah, I've been to this Miyaka place near Sarasota. Yeah, that's funny. Ages ago, I played a show in Sarasota at a college, at New College or something. I don't know. A long time ago, and I went there, and then I went down to the Everglades. Funny, it sounded like a place in Africa. They got they have bears, they have panthers. Apparently, apparently the panthers are really rare, but they have bears and panthers and what else? Obviously, loads of gators. Oh, I saw a coral snake because they have copperheads, water moccasins, bobcats, and a couple bugs that you don't want to get bitten by. I think that's about it, though. Yeah, I remember. I didn't even know about the bear thing until after I booked it, and I was like, "What bears? Really? What the fuck?" Like, like I feel like there should not be a place where you have gators and bears. I feel like you should have gators or bears. You should never have to worry about both of those in the same. Um, Fargo, Georgia, if you could call that a town, it's like a gas station. So I went from Valdosta to Fargo, and then at Stephen Foster State Park, which is inside the wildlife reserve, they have you can pay special fees to get permits to rent boats to go into the smaller causeways to basically go off the main boating trail of the swamps. So, yeah. Yeah, it's really, really, really big. It's like that's the best way I could put it. You know what? I wonder how much longer this is gonna take. It's funny. There's a video that I have. I think I could play it on here without a copyright strike too. I think it's public domain. Hold on, I have some of these. Yeah. Okay. So here's a video. I hope you can hear this. Let me make sure you can hear this. There we go. So I have no idea what the hell is with this
say what excitement and unexpected pleasures they will eventually bring.
Yeah, so this guy is like in a car factory, right?
Some man who became its owner.
And then he decides that he's on vacation to Miami. He's like a doctor from the
The Hippocratic Oath, which all physicians take when they enter practice, boils down to this. The welfare of his patients must always take precedence over the comfort, convenience, and self-interest of the doctor. But 6 straight years without a vacation is just too much.
It is.
Oh, well, a couple of weeks in Florida ought to fix me up fine.
Yeah, so he's driving down to Florida. I swear this is worth seeing.
Poor wife. I can imagine what Martha's had to put up with these last few months. I must have acted like a bear when... Matter of fact, that's just the way I feel. Well, physician, heal thyself. Miami, here we come.
I'm not sure what road he's on. I think this is the part I wanted everybody to see.
By George, there's something about these little southern towns. The tempo is different. Just what I need, a change of pace. But no, we have a schedule to keep. We have to meet the crowd from home. Wham, bang, zowie. Parties, dinners, dances. If I could just get away from people for a while. Of course, going to Miami is fine, but the parties weren't my idea. Matter of fact, Martha did all the planning, and she kept bringing it up and bringing it up. That's a woman for you. Made me think it was my choice. Women have no consideration.
Just what the fuck? like he just goes full fucking incel for no reason.
Well, we'll just see whose vacation this is. Maybe we'll just do a few things the doctor wants to do.
Yeah.
George Dunn told me about Southern cattle auctions. So,
We're gonna go to a cattle auction. Take that, bitch. He's just like, fuck this. Fuck cattle
aren't there any
auctions.
nice, quiet, peaceful places left in the world anymore? Wait a
Fail.
minute. What is there about this country I'm trying to remember? Southeast Georgia. The Okefenokee Swamp. That's it.
He's like, oh, a swamp.
Somewhere around here is the source of the Swanee River. The one Stephen Foster wrote the song about. I've always wanted to see that. The parties and the dinners and the golf can wait.
So anyway, he meets some farmer man and asks him for a swamp tour. And they go off and...
This is beginning to look like a good idea.
And this whole thing ends up being a promo for the swamp.
This is just what I needed.
I think he's dying here or something.
The boatman told Martha that neighbors and friends get together often to sing. Be found in simple things.
Yep. So anyway, I think our caching is done here. That'll be women for you. All right. Yeah, and the thing about that is that they actually went on the they actually, like, you know, you could tell they're actually like in the swamp. I mean, I'm sure they had, like, you know, a camera crew and like somebody like pointing a fan at them the entire time, but yeah, when I was watching that the first time, I was like, they are actually in the swamp though. Like this couldn't have been the most pleasant acting job in the world. But, you know, the doctor needs a vacation. And, you know, women. Just trying to find a good convenient place to angle this camera. I just want to see some of the sky. And bring the intensity down. There we go. I think it depends. Oh yeah, sorry. So first of all, to John Jones, I have like a AMD Threadripper, and then I have a 2070 card in here. So I mean, I guess it could be considered a monster computer, but I did take 2 GPUs out recently, so yeah, maybe not. But anyway, let's see how this looks. I mean, I kind of like it. One thing I want to figure out, I think everything's touching the surface pretty well. A lot of times things will like land and roll 1 millimeter away from the surface because like the caching isn't all that great, but unless you up the caching resolution, which makes it take, you know, exponentially more time to solve. But this is not bad. I would like to change some camera settings. Add some motion border. A little bit less exposure. And then another nice little trick is I mean, this is a garbage scene, obviously, but another nice little trick is to put a vibrate tag on your camera. Enable scale, enable position, rotation, and then like 1 meter, 0.5 meter, 0.5 meter, and the frequency could just be 1. The rotation, I usually put something very small, like 0.2, 0.2, 0.1. Maybe the frequency a little higher, and then scale can be like 1, 1, 1 with frequency maybe 0.75. And now the camera will have a slight bit of handheld effect, like a handheld wobble, which will make the whole thing seem a little bit more dynamic. Let's check out the rendering options here. Octane. Let's see. Where is our save window? Plop. Unfortunately, you just have to render this before you could really see what it looks like. And then we use all the settings from here. Oops. So I'm going to put a few more max samples. And render. See how long it takes. Shouldn't take that long because I did all the solving already. I think I have 32 gigs of RAM. What I should have 64 gigs. Oh, shit. I'm only rendering 1 frame. I'm a smart man. Would this be more complex in Blender? Considering that, like all the tagging, like the soft body tagging and all that stuff. I feel like that's where all the real... I feel like that's stuff where, like, when I first was learning this stuff, I was utterly devastatingly confused. But I mean, it might be worse. Let's see how long this takes to render. So I do know some of the prices of going to the swamp. Sorry, I just saw that question. I think camping, I want to say it's $30 a night at Stephen Foster State Park. Boating, I think if you get a canoe or a kayak, I think that's probably something like $20 for 4 hours. I would recommend doing that over a motorboat. Unless you had a big group of people, at least. I wouldn't take a motorboat by yourself. I did that and it was kind of rough. I mean, it was just like, it was a big pain in the ass. And again, when I got, like I said earlier, when I got stuck, I was stuck. There's very little I could do. And luckily I managed to get the engine running again. But, yeah, I would take a canoe. And that's more peaceful anyway. And I think they have cabins that are like $150 a night. Although they didn't really, honestly, I feel like camping would be more fun. I feel like at $150 a night, if you were to go for 3 days, I would just rent an RV from like one of the local RV renting there's some apps and websites now where you could rent RVs. It's almost like an Airbnb where like other people can rent their RVs, and I feel like you could probably get cheaper than that and have a cool experience rather than staying in one of those like ghetto things. Yeah, I mean, pontoons are nice, but I think like I'm trying to think if I have any photos. I guess you'll see in the video, like there's just areas where like it's too shallow. Like if you get into an area, especially once that every now and then you run to an island, or run near an island, and like, there's certain areas where like your oars can't even touch the bottom of the swamp, but then there's other areas where like you're touching a log below you, and you have to like, you would have to ideally get out and, I don't know, on a canoe you could just like wiggle over it, and on a pontoon boat you actually have to like get out and like put your feet in the black water and drag it over. Just, camping's fine. I think like camping there's fine. Gators aren't gonna like come out to the campground. The campground's a pretty good distance away from the actual swamp. I mean, I'm sure it's happened once or twice, like a stray gator just like happened to walk over there, but well, here I come. I think the bears are a bigger nuisance on the campground, but come on, hit it. I like the way the sun is illuminating my head. Now I could press play and see previews. I like how YouTube automatically censored looks like your neck is transparent. Like somebody said that in some terrible way before and got reported. No, I bought, no, it's my drone. It's a Mavic Air 2, but I have I forgot the name of the license. I have an expensive ass license for it that allows me to fly it a little bit higher, and allows me to fly it for commercial use, which I have to do for YouTube if a video is sponsored. Oh, here comes the ball. Hooray. And then the parks were really, really, the parks were just really hard to deal with regarding drones. Like people either didn't know the policy or they didn't know what they had to do, or they just kept like shoveling me over to the next agency. And then, the places where I finally ended up were like the people in Georgia who you negotiate with to like, if you're like shooting a Netflix show or something. And so that was like, ultimately, I'm not going to like go into details, but I paid more money just to fly the drone for one battery's worth. I paid more money than the drone cost for this video. No, I didn't get training. I had to take a test though. Yeah, I just had to take like a written test. which I could have cheated on. It wasn't like difficult or anything. But they keep changing it too. Like I know that after I did that, they changed it to where I wouldn't have had to do that, and then they changed it to where like you had to like get a certain certification after that, or I don't know. It's weird. I think mine expires in. Trying to remember when I got it, but I think it expires in like a year or something. Yeah, I've not tried Houdini totally. I don't have a license for it. But somebody from the company who just worked in sales who like couldn't really get me a license for it, unfortunately, told me that Houdini now has the capability to trigger MIDI or have wave files within 3D objects, which was pretty. So you could like simulate. You could create essentially what I'm doing here, but like make it into a sound design piece. I don't know what YouTube's policy is with marijuana vape pens. Yeah, I have no idea what their policy is. Oops, my camera disappeared. Hey, everybody. Sorry, my camera broke. There's a fire in here, I think. This is so exaggerated on the webcam, too. I swear it's not that bad in real life. Yeah, this render is so hot that it's just starting my computer on fire, I think. Yeah, I know Houdini is a pretty deep dive. I mean, it would have to be because it's such a good physics simulator. And then there's another question here. Oh yeah. Yeah, Beeple is like the Cinema 4D's the best thing that ever happened to them, really. It's kind of funny. They were like, I don't know, just I feel like Beeple made art, where Cinema 4D was like pretty much focused on like, just cinema stuff and general boring, like, oh, here's how to 3D model a Viking ship. Weird things like that. Yeah, I'm okay with this. I mean, it might need sound design for me to be happy, but I like how the light and the camera shaking, the focusing changes with things, kind of making it a little more chaotic. Oh, really? You think nodes are nightmares? I like nodes. Yeah, that's one of the things I like about cinema and Octane. I mean, how I edit my videos for YouTube, I use a lot of nodes in Resolve, You don't have to use nodes with Resolve. Like, there's basically DaVinci Resolve has this like section called Fusion, which is like their version of After Effects, but it's all node-based programming. And yeah, I mean, you could. It's pretty awesome because I feel like with After Effects, I mean, you could do scripting with After Effects, but only to like a certain extent. And I feel like, yeah, I don't know. It's pretty cool to have like an After Effects / video editing type of environment that feels like it's that feels like it's Max MSP or something. Like, you feel like you could be the first person to create an effect. Yeah, what's up with Unity? It's so funny because Unreal has blueprints, right? And then Unity has. Wait, does Unity have? Do they really have nodes? I know they have like add-ons. I know I've seen like node stuff in the asset store. But I feel like Unity, I'm always opening up Visual Studio Code. I feel like that's just every time I need an option, it's in C#. Oops. I'm doing like 180 frames. It's going slow. Oh yeah, I just did some stabilization just today with Resolve for like the first time. I would always bring my stabilization into After Effects, and I just did it in Resolve, and it worked. It was better than the After Effects one. I was just like, God damn, like they're so good. Oh, okay, yeah, the shader graph. You're right. Yeah, because in Unreal they have like the blueprints, but it's yeah. Anytime I've used it, I've just been like, I just ended up like searching how to accomplish what I was trying to accomplish, and then finding out that just editing a script worked better. Yeah, well, nodes are tricky. I guess like I feel like nodes are tricky because every node based language or every node based interface, it functions differently. Like a good example, which sounds complicated, but it's probably the easiest example I could think of. It's like the difference between building a basic subtractive synthesizer with VCV Rack, or with Pure Data, or with Reactor. Like they're all different. Each one is different. Like Reactor, the amp is built into the ADSR, I believe. In Pure Data, yeah, you're not even really getting like, yeah, you have to like build your ADSR, and you just connect it to the output automatically, and then on VCV Rack, like you have to use control voltage to like control an amplifier for your VCA. So anyway, the difference between the three is it's like it's all the same setup. Like it's all node based essentially. You're just connecting inputs to outputs, but they're all drastically different to accomplish the most basic part of the program that you're making. And that's a lot different than like the difference between Java and C++ and Python. like you just have different terms for things and different, a little bit of a different structure, but it's not like certain huge, it's not like certain functions are completely different for no reason. Now, node, you could have nodes in here. Let me show you. I'm talking about nodes. So like here's the material for the ball, right? It's this sort of like gummy wine colored material. I could also edit it using the node editor. Or can I? I don't want to screw this up too much. Can't I just edit this using the nodes? There it is. Okay. Yeah, so I have noise that is, I guess, so this is sort of backwards, I guess you would want it. This is the overall material that is hitting here. I have noise that's going into displacement. So it's as if my displacement is, yeah, I guess like this would be like my, oh no, it crashed. No. I knew I shouldn't have like fucked with all this at the same time. I wonder if I have like half an MP4 that rendered somewhere. Oh, that's so sad. Well, a great stream. I feel like anything I do on a stream is just doomed to suck. Like I'm never going to accomplish anything good on these. No, it didn't even save the MP4. Oh. This is why professionals render JPEGs or PONGs and then build a sequence of them, because that way they could just continue. But I was greedy and I just went for an MP4. Yeah, I'm trying to figure. I'm watching the window of like, I'm still seeing people being like, yeah, just press this button to look at your nodes, and then they didn't see the crash yet. Yeah, I have a lot of dimensions to me. There, take that. No, I didn't actually. That's going to take forever to send. It's crashing on the bug report. That's amazing. This isn't Cinema 4D, by the way. It's a Octane. And I know I'm not using the most recent version of Octane, but like Octane just got really, really unstable, unfortunately. I don't have Cinema open. So what's the issue? Yeah, I wasn't clearly wasn't really making anything other than, random objects plopping on myself. I feel like this is like what I would do if I were in a conference call or something. Oh, I press Control Shift Escape. I don't bother with the Control Alt Delete steps. Yeah, Control Shift Escape just automatically hooks you up with that task process manager. But I have multiple monitors, that's why it didn't show up on the screen. Yeah, this is rough. Like I said, I had 3 GPUs and I only have 1. And my other ones are literally just sitting out there. I just felt like it was a waste for them to be heating up. I'm not going to keep the stream going throughout this entire process. I'm just setting it up before being done. I'll just let it crash after I'm asleep. Use all GPUs. I feel like if I check that now, it's gonna crash. I think this does it. Yeah, I'm not gonna set any special settings now. Yeah. Well, everyone, I appreciate you tuning in. Sorry this wasn't more entertaining. I don't know. I'll post this to my Instagram story or something if it actually works out. We'll see. See how long it takes this time. I'm only doing 128, what are they called? Never mind. I forgot the name of it. 128 dinghies. Whatever. My octane resolution is not as high now. So. Yeah, this is just laziness. I just didn't feel like... I truly did not feel like just importing it in After Effects or whatever and, exporting it as a video file. I was just like... I also thought it would render a lot faster just because I'm used to having... 3 times the GPUs. And yep. Well, everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to go eat a little thing of yogurt and feed my dog and let her out and go to bed. Yeah, there is. If you remember my Patreon, you get invited through that system, and then it ranks and colors you automatically with Patreon, so it's integrated with the Patreon. To be honest, I'm not. I mean, I am the admin of it, but I'm one of the admins of it, and that's because I'm not that familiar with Discord, so I do apologize, but yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll probably be more energetic next week when I'm not all swamped out. Yeah, cool. All right, well, oh, and by the way, if you want to see any of my past streams, they're all available on Patreon. If you just click that live stream tag, you'll be able to see all, 14 of them now. 15 of them now, so hooray. All right, guys, have a wonderful night. Like I said, I'll post this on Twitter, Instagram story, or something like that. Bye.